Welcome back, my friends, to another episode of TFT Hyperroll with Artark. Today's episode is going to be about something I mentioned in a previous episode that I really wanted to show you, and this gave me the opportunity to do it. But before we get into it, you know the drill. Bring up the graphic. Yes. Subscribe, like, comment, do all the things to help the YouTube algorithm so the channel gets out there. And with that said, let's get right into this one. So if you know one thing about me, you know the moment I see a threat come out of the NPC round, I'm going to look for an excuse to go threats. Yes, I know this channel has a lot of threat builds, but I really enjoy them. And when you get the opportunity to throw Portable Forge on it, and then MANAZANE, I'm thinking just one thing, and that is, how cool is MANAZANE on Aurelion Sol? The only problem is you're not going to get Aurelion Sol until far later in the match. Now normally when I decide to go threats, I just hold my gold, but this time it kept giving me champions that I felt would help. Having a defender up front, or two defenders I should say, gave Rammus some extra armor which attaches to his natural armor plating, so I knew that would make the team stronger. And remember, if you're planning on going threats, loaded dice is your best friend, because you will get threats guaranteed. And I'll speed this fight up a little bit more than usual because it's just champions beating on each other, since we have a lot of armor in the front line and they do not have enough power in their attack yet to really dent through it. While Talon does do AP on his ult, his non is not, and so yeah, it just kind of goes that way. I've decided to go ahead and make Lulu my item holder for the MANAZANE for now, since her spells are pretty powerful, and the MANAZANE will allow her to cast pretty much 3 or 4 times in a row. And you will quickly see these additional casts from Lulu help us break through their front line, which is generally pretty strong with Annie and Poppy. They also have Gadgetine, so they have an additional item on LeBlanc, but Lulu is able to handle her, while Rammus just tanks their opposing Lulu, who is forced to go down to ours. For the next item choice, I like picking up champion duplicators when possible when doing a threats build, because they're really strong and being able to get 1 to 2 stars early is going to be key. And while normally threats is a very slow start, if you spend really wisely early on and are able to pick up things that support the threat champion you get, it can work out. With Rammus, defenders will help you be stronger early, and in this case, because I had the MANAZANE, I could put it on Lulu. It is now time for our next augment, and we end up with a hero augment, and I see a threat champion. It doesn't matter what it is, I will take it, but the chill augment is fantastic. For the first 6 seconds of combat, all enemies are going to have their attacks slowed. Now this is an augment that really helps more in the late game, especially after I get that MANAZANE on Aurelion Sol. I wanted to get this rolling though, so I took out Poppy, which took away my defender buff, but I don't think it would have changed the result of this match because this was an AP-based team that was going to power through us. And I kind of rushed a little more than I needed to here and used the loaded die in stage 6. It did get me my 2-star Rammus and 2-star Vel'koz, and did pick up a Bel'veth, but if I had waited till 7, I probably would have had a better chance at 4s than I did here. I've gone ahead and itemized a little bit, putting the Titan's Resolve onto Bel'veth and a Sunfire Cape onto Rammus, but I'm holding Lulu with that MANAZANE because I really want to put it on Aurelion Sol. It would still work nicely on Vel'koz, but it'll be better on ASOL. This is where the chill is going to start to really have an impact as we get into 6 and especially into 7, because it's going to allow our team more chance to get damage in before the other team can power up, especially if you're dealing with teams with duelists or those types of champions that require on doing more attacks early. You're going to get a jump that you need. And just because this was my goal from the moment I picked up the MANAZANE, we finally got our Aurelion Sol, and the MANAZANE goes straight on. For our final augment, I was tempted by blue, battery, or the component grab bag, because the component grab bag will give me lots of options of things that I can ultimately put together. I pick up a Fiddlesticks and then see a Giant's Belt, and Morellonomicon on Fiddlesticks is one of my favorite items, and so I'm going to go ahead and make that. Then I hope the component grab bag is going to fill in all my dreams and desires, which it does, because I can put the double Archangel staff on Aurelion Sol. And you very quickly get to see the fun in action. The meteor showers start almost immediately and just continue pummeling them for the first 15 seconds of the match. Keep in mind, during the first 6 seconds of that, Vel'koz has them chilled, making it hard for them to come back from it. And allow me to take time in another video to just sing the praises of the threat champions. The synergy between them, despite them having no quote traits in common, is just uncanny. Vel'koz turns attention on Zoe, holds her in place while Bel'veth finishes her off and leads to the end of the fight. It's time for a couple of more item choices, and first I'm going to grab the Warmogs, and that is to put on Rammus. Since he has the Sunfire Cape, we want to keep him alive as long as possible so he can set lots of people on fire. Now, I've brought Misfortune into the fight for now, mainly because since she's an ace, she will execute things that are below 12% health, and with Aurelion Sol throwing so many meteors down so quickly, I thought it would be interesting to see if she could start executing people very early in the match. So a lot of things are going to happen here. First, Aurelion Sol is going to absolutely destroy this team, and one of the problems with running mech against something like this is the mech will get weak and then go out. This player decides to leave the game, which causes the message to pop up where I can see someone earlier had said Artark big fan. I am responding to them because I didn't see it when it first went through, but they get knocked out, leading us into the top 4, but me feeling bad because I had just ignored someone. So I scanned through the video and found the moment, and it actually was a moment where I was showing my kid what I was doing and that I was going to bring Aurelion Sol up to 2 stars. And so I was talking to my kid at this moment, and again, I apologize for not acknowledging you at the time. And for anyone else, if you see me in a match, please feel free to say hello. If I don't respond, it's probably because I'm distracted by something over here. I try to respond to anyone who says hello. Also, I have now gone ahead and switched my aces out because I felt the ace strategy worked, but if I have a chance to get a 5-cost ace, I'm gonna go with that. And at this point, with the way things are going, I feel like this is going to be a cakewalk. Aurelion Sol is nearly wiping the teams. Mordekaiser is cleaning up what's left, and then Bel'veth just likes to get in the last couple of shots. As I have not been able to find Urgot, I went ahead and grabbed Aphelios and go with Binding Eclipse, as that will stun the enemy. If I was using a lot of carry items, I would have gone with the first one, but in this case, when you don't, you tend to go with the second. It is time for our final 2 items, and Rageblade is an excellent Aphelios item. It will also work well on Urgot, so I'm going to go ahead and grab that because I'm still hopeful that maybe I can get Urgot into this match. So I want to pick up items that would work in both. In this case, Static Shiv will be the best choice because it will work on either champion as a good item for shredding armor, especially since Aurelion Sol is going to be doing tons of magic damage. Now, this team had exactly the right formula to go against me. Their Yuumi in the back in 2 shots takes my Aurelion Sol off the board, so I don't get to finish my full-fledged amount of meteors. So I don't do the damage to them that I feel like I could. Mordekaiser ends up ulting in a slightly different direction than would have been optimal, and that leaves me at their mercy with only Vel'koz left to defend. He is not going to be able to get it done, and they knock me down. Since that was ultimately a positioning issue, I readjust so that Aurelion Sol is not vulnerable to die early on, and I can get my full suite of attacks up. This team is very, very, very strong, and they have the Urgot that I really, really needed. Because of their multiple waves of attacks and ability to get in, they are also able to knock me down, and I went from having only one early loss to clinging to life in this game. Luckily, they now make it so that you can see who you are going to face in the next round, so I can prepare accordingly instead of trying to guess. This Talia team could wipe me if I don't do it first. I position myself in such a way that Mordekaiser is likely to slam his hammer down on them after Aurelion Sol has done a significant amount of damage. I need to get through them very, very quickly because Talia can wipe an entire board if she's allowed to. Talia gets her ult off, but we are spread out enough that it only takes out a small percentage of our team, leaving the keys left to finish it off. Threats, it's just so much fun if you have the patience to go for it, either by getting the right item or the right champion or combination. Do it if you get a chance. Hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, have an absolutely, absolutely awesome day.